Ammo is crazy expensive and hard to find, and dry fire is life. I use the Mantis X10 to keep my handgun skills strong, and it makes dry practice fun and challenging. Check it out at the link below.
Welcome to Active Self-Protection Extra. I'm Brian Hill with a Complete Combatant, and we're going to go over something that I see when people are training in one of the three modes of training. Steve Anderson laid this out, and we use it in class quite a bit. There's accuracy mode, speed mode, and then he calls it match mode. I think for the self-defender, probably performance mode, what it would be like under pressure. I have a lot of people shoot 25-yard standards so that we can develop their accuracy standards. And what I see is this habituation in their shooting that doesn't appear anywhere else. It's only during accuracy shooting. So when there's no time limit and extreme accuracy is called for, I see this little motion that happens in their shooting. And it's very interesting, and it's hard to diagnose sometimes. I've been guilty of it myself. And what happens is people get the gun out, they make their stance, they get a good grip, and as they're aiming at the target, what they simply do is they shift their weight forward. And what that causes is the sight begins to go down, so they have to tilt their wrist, and at the moment they fire, they get a higher shot than they were expecting. Let's look at it from the side here. Clear gun, clear gun. Okay? So if I'm doing it like this, and I get everything lined up, and I start aiming at that, what we'll see is people starting to lean forward, and then they have to lift a little bit at the end. As their finger comes to the trigger and they begin to lift, their palm presses into the back of the gun and causes a high shot. So they're trying to cut the distance between their index finger and their palm, okay? But they're also leaning forward at the same time, and that causes the gun to lift. We see a lot of high shots like that. So my suggestion to you is this: make sure that your stance is well aligned. Make sure that you're grounded before you start that pressing position with the trigger finger. Don't lean into the shot. I use this wood background because you can see the lines, you can see the movement clearly. One of the greatest ways to train this is to develop your stance, then get in front of your target and close your eyes. If you close your eyes, you're tapping into the ability to feel what's going on, not only see what's going on. And when we get into a high level of accuracy, it's driven by vision. But we also want to have a certain amount of feel, because if we have two systems working, sight and feel at the same time, vision and feel, then we have a better confirmation system because we have two systems working. So let me show you what that looks like. I get everything right in my stance. I get my posture perfect. Grip and stance are always the same thing to me. I'm going to grip the gun with my entire body as I grip the ground. I've got everything lined up here. I put my finger on the trigger. I look at my target. And what I simply do is close my eyes. Now I open my eyes. When I opened my eyes, my sight had shifted up to the top of the window. My red dot was in the top of the window, which means I either settled forward or backwards. So let's see if I can change that a little bit. I'm really going to grip. I'm going to get everything lined up. I'm going to put a little pressure into my feet and grip with my toes. My fingers on the trigger. Okay. That time it floated up just slightly, but it also went a little bit to the right. So I'm going to engage from my right hip. I'm also going to make sure that I'm getting what we call an inner tension in my gripping method. So my right arm's pushing in, my left arm's pushing in, and that gives us a dynamic tension against each other, and it should hold everything still. Everything's aimed in, posture's good, head's up, body's where I want it, close my eyes, nothing moved. Now what I'm going to do, and only do this with an empty gun, okay, I'm going to do everything like that, and then I'm going to close my eyes, and I press the trigger. When I open my eyes, my sight, my red dot had moved up in my window slightly and off to the right. So I'm still experiencing the same problem. So let's see if I can fix that real quick. Let's go to the stance. Let's work our way up from the floor up. Feet are in a good position. Knees are pointed forward. Hips are pointed forward. My abs are over my hips. My shoulders are down. My body's lined up. Sight looks really good right now. Okay, close my eyes and press. And that one was pretty good. Although I did feel a little bit of settling to the background. So let's do it one more time. Everything's lined up. Fingers on the trigger. Really feel. And that stayed right where I wanted it to. So in a matter of 3 shots, I've corrected that. And then I can simply practice until I get the feeling. It's funny, long distance shooting, especially like if you're shooting B8s at 25 yards, you have to have a really good kinesthetic feeling of how your body is standing, because every motion matters, all right? If you're at 3 yards or 5 yards and you have a little bit of motion, we're talking about a deviation of maybe 1/8 of an inch, all right? If we go 5 times that distance, we're going to see a much higher shot. It's going to be off quite a bit. So make sure that you feel your stance, make sure that you feel your trigger, and try not to lean forward and back, because as we apply concentration, that's why we begin to lean forward. Get all that done before you actually shoot. Get in a good stance, get the grip, get everything lined up, and then simply concentrate on pressing that trigger to the rear without disturbing the sights. If you see any movement, you're in accuracy mode, simply restart the process. Don't fire it anyway, because accuracy mode is about what? Being as accurate as possible. Now, some of us live in that mode. And what's the problem with that? I'm an accuracy first shooter. It's slow. So we have to have a combination of accuracy and efficiency to get to performance mode. But you want to shoot some long groups like 25 yards, get really good at it, because it'll really reaffirm how you're addressing the gun, how you're interacting with it, how you're seeing the sights. And the smallest deviations will be apparent instantly on the target. All right, guys, get to work on that. Remember, measure, refine, and perform. This is Active Self-Protection Extra. I'm Brian Hill with the Complete Combatant. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, hit me up with a comment, and we'll get right back to you. Have a great day.